Welcome. As you close your eyes and settle into stillness, allow yourself to slip gently into another time and another place. Tonight, we travel eastward across misty mountains, quiet bamboo groves, and winding forest paths dusted in soft light. There, between the trees, in the hush of lantern glow, foxes watch. You may not see them, you may not hear them, but you will feel them. In Japan's oldest legends, they walk between worlds, whispering mischief and wisdom into the dreams of humans. Some call them tricksters, others guardians, but tonight we meet them as storytellers. In this journey, you'll walk the edge of a quiet village, hear the tragic love of a fox woman at court, uncover the meanings behind shrine statues and sudden sun showers, and listen to the echo of a samurai's long-lost longing beneath the trees. No need to stay awake. Let the stories wander as you drift. And if you sleep before we reach the end, the foxes will remember it for you. Imagine you live in a village with no name on any map, a scattering of thatched roofs nestled against the edge of a deep forest. The trees whisper in the wind, and the mist settles in the fields like a sleeping cat. The people here are quiet, not because they are shy, but because they listen to the wind, to the footsteps that sometimes pass without a walker, to the rustle of tails in the brush at dusk. You wake before sunrise. The sky is pale blue silk, brushed with faint gold. Roosters cry in distant coops. The well water is cold on your hands. You wrap yourself in a worn kimono, its seams frayed, its fabric soft from years of wear. Today, you go to the forest edge to collect kindling, but before you do, you light a small incense stick and place a piece of sweet rice near the stone shrine under the camphor tree. It's not a grand shrine, just a little wooden box with a red cloth tucked inside. But you always bow there. It's for the foxes, you're told, and you do not forget the foxes. Your grandmother used to say, "If a woman knocks on your door with a basket of mushrooms and eyes too bright, be polite. She may not be a woman at all. The forest is full of those who are more than they seem." On your way back from the path, you pass the rice fields. They are flooded and still. A single heron stands motionless, reflected in perfect mirror. The sun breaks through clouds, and for a moment it rains while shining. Your neighbor calls it Kitsune no Yomeiri, a fox's wedding. You nod and keep walking. The village is filled with small rituals. Salt by the door, pine needles over the lintel, no whistling after dark, and never, ever accept a stranger's gift, unless you're prepared to repay it tenfold. You spend the evening mending straw sandals, sitting by a low fire. The dogs bark once, and then go quiet. Your lantern flickers, just slightly, but you think nothing of it. As you drift towards sleep, you hear something outside. Not footsteps exactly, not wind, just the feeling that something passed by. You smile. You've lived here long enough not to ask questions, and the foxes, they never forget kindness. Now, let us travel from the soft fields of the village to the polished corridors of a palace, a place where incense lingers in the air, where silken slippers whisper across lacquered floors, and where beauty can be more dangerous than any blade. This is the story of Tamamo-no-Mae. She appeared at court like a breeze through paper doors. No one knew from where she came, only that she was perfect. Her skin was pale as moonlight, her voice like a koto string plucked in twilight, and her intellect unmatched. She recited poems none had heard before. She solved riddles posed by scholars twice her age. The nobles of the Heian court whispered she must be divine or something else entirely. The emperor, wise but weary, took her as a companion, and under her presence he smiled again, laughed again, forgot for a time the sickness that quietly took root in his chest. But as the weeks passed, the emperor's color faded, his strength waned, dreams troubled his sleep, dreams of flames, of golden eyes, of whispers in a tongue that chilled the marrow. Priests were summoned, exorcists consulted, the court physician, silent and pale, began to suspect the impossible. A diviner finally dared to speak aloud. Tamamo-no-Mae is not what she seems. When confronted, she did not argue. She smiled gently and disappeared, not through a gate, not down a hallway, but into thin air, leaving behind only the scent of sandalwood and fox fur. The court was thrown into panic. The emperor lay frail, and somewhere in the distant countryside, a golden fox with 9 tails was said to be seen in the hills. Hunters were dispatched, villagers warned to stay indoors at night. For weeks she evaded them. Some say she walked through towns as a young girl. Others claim she became mist and floated across fields at dawn. But finally, on a mountain now called Nasu, they caught her, or so the story says. She was struck down, her body vanishing, her spirit swallowed into a stone. That stone came to be known as the Sesho Seki, the killing stone, a rock said to curse all who touched it. But is that the end? Because sometimes at twilight, travelers on Nasu's slopes say they see her, a woman in white, standing still at the forest's edge, golden eyes glimmering, and sometimes the stone is said to crack, just slightly. Tamamo-no-Mae is no villain in all tellings. In some she loved too deeply, in others she was punished for her power, and in a few she was never a fox at all, only a woman, too clever, too radiant, too free for the world she lived in. The story of Tamamo-no-Mae fades, but the fox remains, not in the shadows now, but in stone, still, watchful, eternal. In every part of Japan you can find them, paired statues of foxes flanking the paths to small red shrines. These are the Inari shrines, quiet places nestled in the hills, in alleyways, in rice fields, places where people come not to shout, but to bow. Foxes, in Japanese belief, are not merely animals. They are messengers of Inari Okami, the kami of rice, prosperity, and fertility. They do not speak aloud, but they carry meaning from one world to the next. Look closely at the statues. One may carry a key in its mouth, the key to the rice granary. Another may hold a scroll, a wish, or a jewel. Their faces are not fierce, but firm, calm, clever, and still. The bibs, those little red cloths tied around their necks, are not decoration. They are offerings, tokens of thanks and reverence, placed there by those who have asked and received. Foxes, you see, are tricksters, but not evil. They are clever and they walk between things, between night and day, between gods and humans, between what is real and what is almost real. In the countryside, stories bloom like moss on stone. A woman who never eats before sundown, a man who speaks to no one but leaves gifts at crossroads, a boy who vanished after chasing a fox through tall grass, only to return days later, eyes older than his years. There's the tale of the Kitsune no Yomeri, the fox's wedding. It is said to occur during sunshowers, when rain falls gently while the sky is still bright. A strange, lovely moment. Some say it's when 2 fox spirits are wed, and the world blinks between layers. Foxes have long been symbols of femininity, of transformation, of wisdom that doesn't shout. In some traditions, a fox may live 100 years, grow a second tail, and become something more. By the time it grows 9 tails, it is no longer just an animal. It is legend, memory, messenger. But the fox does not demand temples. It prefers shrines with narrow paths, soft footsteps, lanterns that glow quietly in the mist. It is not a deity. It is not a demon. It is a presence, still, mysterious, waiting. And if you bow, light a candle, and whisper a wish into the wind, perhaps it will hear you. The forest waits, its silence filled with memory. In this final tale of the night, we follow a man with no master and no home. He was once a samurai, trained in the art of war, of loyalty, of silence. But now he walks alone, a ronin, masterless, his blade tied in a faded sash, his robes dusty from the long road. He comes to a forest near dusk. The sky is pale and the trees are dark. He is tired. He has not spoken in days. There, beneath the trees, he finds a woman. She is kneeling beside a stream, filling a gourd with water. Her hair is long, her clothing simple. She does not look at him, but she smiles, just slightly. He bows, she nods, and without speaking, they walk together to her home. It is a modest hut, hidden deep in the woods. The inside smells of cedar and earth. She pours tea. He sits. They say nothing. But something begins. He stays the night, and the next, and the next. Days pass like petals on a breeze. He forgets the road, he forgets his blade, he forgets the name of the place he left behind. In her presence, there is only stillness, a rhythm of cooking, of quiet laughter, of sitting beneath the stars without needing words. But one day, as he chops firewood at the edge of the clearing, a traveling monk appears. The monk watches the hut, then looks at the samurai. You must leave, the monk says. She casts no shadow. The samurai laughs, but when he returns to the hut, it is empty. The bedding is gone, the bowls, the mats, the dried herbs, vanished. Only the scent of wildflowers remains, and in the soft earth, a single paw print. He searches the forest for weeks. He speaks to trees, to wind, to the night itself. But she does not return. He no longer carries a blade. He builds a shrine where the hut once stood, a simple stone with a red cloth tied to a branch above it. Travelers pass it sometimes, those who have lost something unnamed. They leave rice, coins, letters never sent. They say the shrine brings quiet dreams, not joy, not sorrow, just stillness. And as for the samurai, he became a storyteller, a man who spoke gently by firesides of a woman in the woods, with eyes like gold and a silence that felt like home. Some say he dreamed her, others say she was a test of his soul. But the old monk, long gone now, once wrote in a scroll, "Where the fox walks, nothing is ever truly forgotten." And now, the stories grow still, the forest grows quiet, the lanterns burn low, and somewhere, in a place between memory and myth, a fox curls beneath a pine tree and closes its eyes. Tonight, you've walked through misty rice fields, into candlelit palaces, past moss-covered shrines, and deep into forgotten woods. You've heard tales old as the mountains, soft as falling leaves. Perhaps some part of these stories will linger, a golden glance, a flicker at the edge of thought, a name you never learned, but somehow remember. Rest now. The roads of the old world stretch onward, quiet, unhurried. They are always there, waiting in silence beneath the starlight. And if you listen closely, you might still hear them, echoes of ancient voices, footsteps that never quite fade, tales told not to wake you, but to guide you gently into dreams. Good night.